Welcome back for another video. 75 points all out in Gameweek 23. A much welcome green arrow, to be honest, ahead of this double game week where I feel like I might be up against it with no chip active. Especially with a huge amount of assistant manager chips activated, which does mean the next 3 game weeks are going to be more of a battle for rank. The defence came in clutch last game week, 16 points from Ryan and Gabriel combined. And then although Trent and Munoz both conceded, they both got an assist. Isak back on the score sheet. Well played if you captained him for the brace. I went Salah in the end, who scored 8 points, or 16 as captain, which wasn't bad at all. Semenyo and Gordon also chipping in for returns. Bruno had a quiet game against Fulham. I felt they were a bit fortunate to come away with 3 points there. Man United's next 4 do look pretty good though, and then they've got Arsenal in game week 28, but they've got Leicester in game week 29, which is going to be that blank game week, so he could be a handy pick to hold. No transfers made in my team since game week 21. It's about time to shake the team up with a few transfers. So let's get into the team for double game week 24 and start with a quick look at your highs and lows sent in first. FPL the underdog says 21 points sat right there on my bench, with Greaves scoring to complete the misery. 21 points bench, very unlucky, especially Kirkes with that unexpected clean sheet, and obviously Bournemouth in general battering Forest. Greaves outscoring Trent when they played each other last game, it was peak FPL. FPL Rozpruach says, after 2 poor game weeks, in which I dropped from 57th to 650th, a great game week came. They finished on 89 points, which isn't just an excellent score, but it took them up to 129th in the world. Well played, hope you get back in the top 100 this week. Ishto says 500k green arrow with all good benching choices, and Gakpo came in for Jackson and Konate in for Lewis for free. And lastly, FPL City captain Gakpo absolutely smashed it, 32 pointer, nice work. Thanks everyone that sent in as always. Let's get into the team for the double game week and transfer plans. In goal, it's got to be one of the most important games of the season for Raya, home to Man City. It's not a great fixture, I can't imagine there's massive clean sheet potential here, and I've got a call between sticking with Raya or I could sell him for Pickford or Alisson ahead of the double game week. Arsenal's odds aren't actually as bad as I initially thought in fairness, 29% chance against City, so basically 1 in 3. By the way, I've combined the clean sheet probabilities here for Liverpool and Everton, and I've calculated the percentage likelihood of them keeping at least 1 clean sheet across their 2 games. So for Liverpool it's 61% and for Everton it's 49%. Rock bottom's West Ham away at Chelsea, and then it's Spurs against Brentford and Bournemouth against Liverpool. In defence it's a back 3 of Trent, Colwill and Gabriel. So Gabriel's in the same boat as Raya really. There is the option to sell him for a Liverpool or an Everton defender, which is where I've landed this week. I'll talk more about the transfer plans in a minute and the reasoning. It's not the greatest double game week of all time. Bournemouth, after all, have been unbelievable recently. They've not lost since November in the league. They've taken some top teams on and getting some truly good results as well, like beating Forest 5-0 and beating Newcastle before that, 9 goals in their last 2 games, and drawing with Chelsea the week before that. Nonetheless, I think a Liverpool triple up's non-negotiable. They're the best team in the league, arguably the best defence, so Trent for me is a must-have. The question is which third player. The great news is, because of Liverpool's secure position in the Champions League, slots rotating heavily. Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk, Konate, Salah and Luis Diaz, all among those left out of the trip to PSV. Gakpo did travel, but it's probably not a big issue if you've got him. His minutes are going to be managed either way in that game, if he even starts. My third defender spot's a bit of a head scratcher this week. Colwill and Greaves have got pretty good clean sheet odds. Chelsea given a 37.5% chance against West Ham, Greaves given a 34% chance against Ipswich. Now Southampton have shown some improvement, even if it's not translated to results on the Irish, so my gut feeling is they will score against Ipswich, though West Ham might be seeing some resurgence as well under Potter. The other option is to play Munoz playing at Old Trafford, but he's given just a 21% chance of a clean sheet. But he's the most attacking defender in my team, so Colwill's in for now, and of course Gabriel's going to leave the team. In midfield, I'm looking to make a change as well. It's Salah, Bruno, Gordon, Palmer and Semenyo. Now Gordon's been a solid transfer in for me, and it might be a week too soon to be selling him before Fulham home. Selling him at all might be a bad idea to be honest, but I'm looking to make what I think's an upgrade in that spot, with better fixtures as well. Is anyone not captain as Salah? Let us know in the comments if so who you're going for this week. In my eyes, he's easily the best choice, and I think picking anyone other than Salah is potentially overthinking it. He's got more points than anyone this season. He's got a higher expected goal involvement than any player as well over the season, and even over the last 6 games. What more can you ask for? For what it's worth, I am hoping that he blanks, because my triple captain chip's already used, and he's definitely going to be over 200% effective ownership, so if he's your captain, and not triple captain, you'll still lose rank for every point that he gets. I just can't see a world where it happens though. Semenyo's been a real saviour recently. He was on the chopping block given the recent fixtures, but other transfers basically took priority. And then I felt having at least 3 transfers for the double was the priority over selling him before that. Which really goes to show that sometimes doing nothing is the best thing in FPL. The Bournemouth mids have been on an absolute tear recently. This is their points over the last 4 game weeks. 45 for Kluivert, 39 for Dango, 37 for Semenyo. Kluivert's the most informed one, plus he's on pens, so he's the popular pick. Though I do think he and Semenyo are pretty close to the point that it's not worth swapping between them. So Bruno plays Old Trafford against Palace, who also shown some form themselves recently. 3 wins, a draw and a loss in their last 5. That is Garnacho's recent starts, a bit of a statement of intent from Amorim. He's been strongly linked to move away this transfer window, which is about to shut. And what I don't like about Bruno is his role's never a certainty. It could be Garnacho and Ahmad playing as the 10s, which means Bruno playing as a deeper centre mid. Or it could be Ahmad right wing back and Bruno as a 10. Or Garnacho benched and then Bruno on the left sided 10 spot alongside Ahmad. He's often started further forward and then had to drop deeper as well based on who comes off the bench. I'll just look at the next 4 fixtures though, plus that Leicester game in Gameweek 29, and I'm wondering if it's too luxury to sell him. After using 3 transfers this game week, I'll have a further 5 free transfers leading up to Gameweek 29. However, if we look at the Gameweek 29 blank likelihoods, table here from Ben Crellin, I'll likely have a Liverpool triple up to get rid of, plus Isak, plus Munoz, all expected to blank based on the bookies' odds of who progresses to the League Cup final. So basically, what I'm saying is that's 5 players blanking, and 5 transfers from Gameweek 25. We're heading into chip season now, where strategy is really important, and if you really want to be maximising your points, you really need to be thinking about Gameweek 29, let alone the double in Gameweek 24. So do have a look at those odds and work out how many players you're going to have blanking, assuming that it'll be Newcastle, Palace, Villa and Liverpool that blank. So moving on, Palmer's home to West Ham, and as we saw, they're rock bottom in the clean sheet odds this week, which is good news as a Palmer owner. Also good news, he was one of the most sold players last game week, and a further 120,000 have sold him, which is great news this game week. I mean, just look at those upcoming fixtures. He's also got Southampton and Leicester home coming up. The hauls are coming. He's likely to be my captain in Gameweek 26 actually, when Salah's away at City, and Gameweek 27 as well actually, when Palmer's got Southampton home. Up front, it's Wood and Isak. Another player that I'm looking to sell who could come back to bite me is Wood. Just 1 blank in his last 5 games, which was last game week against Bournemouth. He's been brilliant while I've owned him. 4 goals, 2 assists in his last 5. In theory, the moves that I'm making do have more upside. I'll talk transfer plans in a second. And lastly, Isak, who's home to Fulham. Now, he and Salah are going to cause some real headaches if they blank in Gameweek 29. Like, do you sell them and lose all that team value that you've got tied up in them, with the advantage of probably getting more points? Like, for example, Haaland's home to Brighton in Gameweek 29, and he's not going to blank. So selling Salah is going to be the only way to afford him. Is it worth it if you're losing like 0.4 mil? The free hit chip is of course an option, and don't lose team value then. But there is going to be a blank in Gameweek 34 as well, which might be the better use of the chip. I'm keeping my options open with chip strategy before I lock in one way or the other. So on the bench, it's Fabianski, Strand Larsen, Greaves and Munoz. I'm sitting on 3 free transfers. Only double Liverpool, no Everton as well, so I've got some moves to make here. Now the original plan from the transfer plans video was Strand Larsen to Ndiaye, Raya to Alisson and Gordon to Mbeumo. Fabianski losing his spot as West Ham's number 1 has made me less confident in that move, because if Liverpool blank in Gameweek 29, I'd have no keeper that week. So instead, I turned to going Wood to Ndiaye, and then Gordon to Mbeumo still, and then Greaves to Konate. I quite liked this at the time. Ndiaye, he is on penalties, he's nailed, he's got the double game week, but do I want to be stuck with him in Gameweek 29 though? And Gomez is back in training for Liverpool as well. Now Konate should still play all the league games, but that was enough for me to look whether there's any other options. So finally, the plan that I've landed on is Wood to Wissa, Gordon to Mbeumo, and Gabriel to Van Dijk. I'm 0.1 mil off affording Gabriel to Van Dijk and Gordon to Mbeumo, so Wood to Wissa works really well as the third move. Like, Tottenham's injury situation's absolutely shocking right now. Like, Leicester just put 2 past them, and they're among the favourites to be relegated. I saw someone on Reddit made this full 11 of Spurs injured players, with Richarlison now flagged as well. Maddison's out for a few weeks. I did see Van de Ven's back in training, but I'm not sure if they're going to rush him straight back in for Gameweek 24 or not. I mean, they've done that before and it's cost them anyway. And Brentford play them home. And of course, that Brentford side have also got West Ham, Leicester and Everton in their next 4, so I really don't mind the attacking double up. So if I do those moves, the plan would then be to roll in Game Week 25, and then in Game Week 26, assuming that Arsenal don't blank in Game Week 29, Gabriel comes back in for Van Dijk when Liverpool got Man City. Arsenal are home to West Ham that game week. I do lose 0.2 million by selling Gabriel and then rebuying him, or 0.1 mil if Gabriel falls at some point. My team value is fairly good. I'm happy to bet 0.2 mil on Van Dijk in a double game week, for the outside chance that he gets something off a set piece, as opposed to Alisson, who's realistically just clean sheets, maybe some save points. The shortfall of this plan though, and there's always a shortfall, is no Everton coverage, and that could be costly if they do well this game week, and it is definitely possible. The theory is some short-term loss for long-term gains. I'm interested to know if any of you are going to this double with no Everton, or if I'm the only one considering it. Thanks for watching as always, see you soon for the next one.